What is going on, friends? We're back at the lab, giving you guys another check-in. I wanted to start off with walking you guys through one of our unsung heroes, the Formula Drift Rig. So we'll go inside, show you what the setup's like in the trailer, what we take to the track, and then we'll go inside and check out what's going on with the cars between Atlanta and Jersey. Atlanta and Orlando, I mean. All right, step on in. It's like cribs, but not really. So first thing is, this is all of our totes that just have a ton of spares that the team knows exactly what's in these, where they need to go, what they need to get. Up in here, this is where the hot rods ride. We got a couple spare bash bars, obviously all of our awning stuff. And in here, which used to be the bathroom, we've got a plethora of spare body parts and such. Not as neatly packed as I'd like to see them in this moment, but you know, we'll get there. So this is where a lot of the work happens. This is all basically, you know, right now you're seeing how it left Atlanta. So everything's tied up, right? The chairs, the tables, hospitality stuff. But the most important things we have here is a spare RY45, just in case we need to swap them. It is a very untraditional situation when we need to change a motor at the track. It has happened, and very untraditional things happen in drifting, so we like to be prepared. Nitrous mother bottles. So we got what, 5 nitrous mother bottles, which basically we put up to this. It goes to a filter, we have a scale, and then we fill up all of these nitrous bottles. So these are all the bottles that we use. Tons of Pennzoil Platinum, full synthetic 1060. That's the oil we use. It is magic liquid gold. Let's see, I'm getting really risky here. I'm gonna open these cabinets in front of everybody. I don't know what's in them. I don't know what it looks like right now. The other thing we have, chargers. So these chargers are the new Optima Hypercore lithium chargers. So we use these on the batteries. They're super sick. Optima is known for their batteries, but they have some of the smartest chargers out there for no matter what type of battery you use. These are some new brake pads. These guys G-Lock, they're actually in North Carolina. They have some great compounds. They make any shape you want. And I actually first started testing them on my UTV and they're phenomenal. So now we're using them on the race cars. Let's see what we got here before I show you. Let me just peek. All right. Bottle heaters, some extra spare nitrous stuff, spare solenoids, probably a little bit thrash from put back together at 2 o'clock in the morning in Atlanta. Ta-da! Fluids, dun, dun, dun. Some Stay Frosty coolant, more chargers for radios, hand cleaner stuff, sun lotion. If you know, you know, the guys love this stuff. And then I believe we got cleaning, more cleaning supplies here. Yep, cleaning supplies on cleaning supplies, oil, and black paint, because you never know when you need to black things out. Moving forward, obviously a little generator. We got some fresh clutches from Comp 1. This would just be spare stuff. So this one was labeled Friday Long Beach. Just in case we get into a shunt with our other spares, we have spares on spares on spares. Tables, front subframes. 2 of them already prepped, modified to bolt into our car. And a couple more nitrous bottles just in case we needed more, because they wouldn't fit under there. So transmission. So we got a fresh Andrews transmission there. Very rare occasion that we'll break one, but if we do, we've got one. All right, so in addition to the trailer, we've obviously got the pit box and then our tire cart. So I want to show you guys these because there's a little more than meets the eye, especially with the tire cart. Guys are working on the cars. We'll get to that here in a little bit. So pit cart, they know where everything is in here. So I'm not going to pretend, but this is basically everything that we take onto the track for practice. So obviously tire gauges, gears for quick changes. I got some toe plates in here. These are the fancy, you put this under the diff when you pop the cover, it catches the oil. This catches any parts that hopefully don't come out of the differential. Tools, so all labeled, right? Throttle related parts, rear suspension related parts. Not labeled properly, zip ties. So again, I trust that the guys know all these things. Brakes, so we got brake parts, timing guns. What else do we have? This is just hey, we're done at the track, close everything up in Atlanta, and then they go through everything every time before the race. So all those totes that you saw in the trailer, they all get pulled out, get inspected, make sure they have everything they need in them, and they go back in the trailer. Some spring rubbers for in the case we may need to use those. More toe plates, sway bars. Look at this freaking, that's the front sway bar of our race car. Chunky. It's heavy. I mean, it's super heavy. That's why I don't want to bring it out. Pull a muscle here. Tools. Again, I'm really going on the trust tree here, just opening things up, right? So spare tie rods, all pre-adjusted, ready to just go right on the car. More of those. Spare belts. We've got this one labeled the last resort. So if we ever went through so many belts, these are oil pump belts, by the way. If we went through so many, we've got our last resort that we put on there. And I think it's because this one is one that has failed multiple times. And they just keep it as a last resort, I guess. More bottle heaters, spare alternator, plenty of the magical spark plugs, which I don't know if you guys have seen the plugs we use, but we're using resistorless plugs. Right, Justin? These are resistorless plugs. Is that what these are called?
Surface discharge.
Surface discharge, that's what it is. Boom. See, they don't have the little strap on them. And I'd have to ask Ray why we transitioned over to those, but I know that we're really happy with them. And NGK makes the magic. All right, so that's that. Pit box, check. So, tire cart, you think it's only tires, but it's not. There's a complete rear subframe built into here. If we were to break an axle or break a diff or get in a shunt, bend the arm, etc., it's usually faster to just change the rear subframe because all you gotta do, pop the wheels off, disconnect the rear shocks, 4 bolts bolted into the chassis, and of course disconnect the drive shaft. But that's usually, I've seen the guys, they can do this in 7 minutes. So it's a little faster than pulling the hub off, pulling the axle out, things like that. So we just keep a spare in there. It's already fully set up for whatever track we're at. It's set up so it can just get bolted in. Don't need a set alignment or anything like that. We also carry a couple spare coilovers in here. Actually, sorry, there's a full front corner. I'm not gonna pull it out, but it's basically ready for a corner to bolt right up into the car. And then here on the other side, aside from our spare aero discs, there is rear shocks and a front corner in there. This thing is much more than a tire cart. It is heavy as crap as well, but it has everything that we need. It's very purposely designed, just like most everything. Always room for improvement, but pretty happy with our pit and trailer prep process. As you guys have seen, that preparation has allowed us to pull some pretty seriously magical things off at the track and get the cars back out. So shifting to update on the race cars from Atlanta. The biggest thing is that with James' car this year, had a little bit more weight in the car upon final build than we wanted. So our goal has been to pull weight out of it every event. So we pulled a little bit out before Long Beach, we moved some weight around, and so now we're even doing more. So what you'll see here is that, well, let me show you first over here. This is how we traditionally cut our comp cars. So we would cut them here well before the shock tower. A lot of teams cut them at the shock tower. We started doing it a bit differently. And so you can see our bay bar is here. A lot of stuff mounts to this, and we have this chunk here. So what we've done with James' car is we've cut it right about here, just before the shock tower. So if you come back here now, so this is the old piece. Now we have one piece that will bolt to here and to here, and we dropped about 30 pounds, I think, doing that out of the front of the car. This is, again, the old piece. I'll see if I can grab the new one. In fact, stand by, cut. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, boys. So I lied. Thought it was one piece, but I'm glad it's not. So we're gonna go backwards, okay? So this still lives. All right, this is our front bash bar. And then what we've done is, come on back over here, we've replaced this part and probably about 5 pounds of production metal on both sides, maybe even more. We'll go, I saw one in the back, so we'll go check it out. But this basically is gonna go like so, boop, and bolts up to that. So we've saved the weight. We've also created another area where the car can get hit and this can fold instead of messing with the shock towers. Because when Ben hit the wall in Long Beach, we had to straighten it. So this took a bunch of the hit, but it was like barely saved the shock tower. Whereas if this was on here, it would have took the hit and it would have just folded this in and we could have just replaced this instead of worrying about that. Every mistake is an opportunity for learning, and we learn. You know, this is what I love about this sport. You know, we've been building this chassis 2015 because the S650 has a ton of changes, but the chassis are very similar. The new Mustang, most of the changes are in the technology, the steering, the suspension, the body, et cetera, but chassis mounting points and everything are similar. So we've been evolving this, and so we're still learning, which is amazing. So yeah, so saved some weight, created another crush structure, and an easy way for us to fix the car within 5 minutes and look like nothing has ever happened, which we've done many times. Other than that, the car is very similar to what you guys saw and what earned third place in Atlanta. We eventually need to take the motor out, and we're gonna have to paint this because we don't want this brand new car rotting away from the fire fun that we had. So while we wanted to keep it that way for nostalgia purposes, it's now more of a thing of time to take the whole car back. So hopefully after New Jersey, we'll get that done. We've not done anything else in the rear, but obviously you guys can see again how we cut these cars for damage, right? Still very much a Mustang unibody, but we cut it and create our own crash structures in the rear for repair purposes. My car is pretty much just getting a reprep. Not very stoked with how Atlanta went down. Perhaps I don't understand the new judging rules, but I do think that we've kind of opened too broad of a box. You know, I understand I dropped 2 tires in front of the judges, but you know, Joao went off 3-4 tires at the end, was like very much out of control and not really in the picture on his chase run. So I haven't had a chance to properly catch up with the judges to understand better, but the bottom line is that 3 or 4 tires off or like having control of your car at the end of the battle is not a automatic anything. So it's left to the judge's discretion, which I think is interesting and confusing because I had a ton of people reach out to me confused about what happened. Nonetheless, we got in the show, and unfortunately it was against James. I think I've said this a couple of times, but you know, I'm not a whiner about the car, but we had some mechanical issues. I literally got 4 good laps in Atlanta, unfortunately. Obviously, the car was just put back together. We didn't get to test. Atlanta was our test. So that's definitely a mistake on our end. Arguably, maybe trying to do too much around that event. But during my run with Joao, you all have seen the in-car, I think. If not, we'll put it here for you. But my nitrous solenoid was stuck. So basically, every time I lifted off throttle, nitrous was still just pouring in the motor. So I was basically using my clutch as my power down, my power delivery. So it's basically, the nitrous was on, which caused the revs to hang. So basically when I got back on throttle, every time it was like a light switch because it was just 100% nitrous. So I was just using my clutch to get the car around the track. And of course that messes up your timing. And I had way too much speed going up to the judge's stand. It happened when I was chasing Joao. So I called 5 minutes. We thought we fixed it. Then in my chase, the same thing happened. Then that night when we were pulling the car apart, we found a piece of Teflon that was coming apart on one of the hoses, and particles of that Teflon was getting into the solenoid, holding the solenoid open. So there was that problem. So then moving on to Saturday on my battle against James, he and I both were nursing a misfire. I learned about the misfire when I was chasing him. And so when it was my lead turn, I tried to compensate for the misfire, knowing I would have a little bit less power going up the hill. And it turns out, so if you watch the video, you'll see when I tried to transition up the hill, the car didn't flick. It just kind of like flicked out, threw me on a gnarly wide trajectory. I drove me and James through the rumble strips, but I was still staying committed. And it turns out that lack of power actually created more speed because I had less wheel spin. I used my same marks, but I was going so much faster, and it threw me 4 tires off. So I wasn't perfect, but it's definitely hard when you're just planning on your timing, and obviously you're not getting the output that you're expecting in the car. So everything is just being reactive in the driver's seat to what's going on with the car. So unfortunate. very uncharacteristic of us. We had a big team meeting after Atlanta because frankly, we did not perform as a team like we expect. And the entire team agreed. We've had quite a lot of internal discussions and changes. But this is what we're committed to for James and Ben, is they've come to RTR because of the team that we are, and we need to deliver. And so we've found a few kinks in the hose and breaks in the processes, if you will, that we have been evolving. And, everybody's here for it. And, even the best have to regroup sometimes. And we're not too proud to talk about that. So Ben's car, so we took Ben out to a test Sunday after Atlanta, got him 24 Nitto tires worth of laps. He left. How happy was Ben?
Oh, man.
That's the happiest I've ever seen him, man.
Yep.
How happy were you guys?
We were stoked. We had no problems. It was just a smooth day.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Revolution playing, food. We were
Vibing, dude.
Yeah, it was a good vibe.
Good. So just general maintenance going on in Ben's car, right? No big changes for Ben's car this year?
No big changes
round?
so far.
Yeah.
We're going to be moving the power steering pump between Orlando and New Jersey, though.
Okay.
Moving it up front.
His is in the back still?
Yeah,
Yeah.
weight off the rear.
Yeah, so this is Chelsea's championship winning car. So priority is on James' car, new car, getting that to where it needs to be. We know this car is capable of winning, but we'll creep up on things as time allows. Look, Ben obviously has very high expectations for himself, coming off a dominating championship win in Pro Spec. The last 2 rounds for him has been a bit humbling. I'm frankly not surprised, and basically what I told him I thought was going to end up happening is happening, and there's a lot of new. Our processes are different, the way our cars are set up are different, and he's just getting, acquainted with that. But he took it like a champ with smiles, kept taking care of fans, still had a really good vibe about him around Atlanta. I think some of his challenges in Atlanta were our fault. He only got like 4 laps prior to his battle. Now, we did have some bad weather on practice day, so there was only 1 practice session, but he only got to run about half of it because we had a steering issue with his car. Take some of that on our chin as a team, but this year is for him to progress. I have zero expectation of his results. Just need him to progress and get into the process, and then the results will come. Based on all the spares that we have, chassis aside, do we take enough stuff to the track to build a complete car, basically?
No. 62% of a car.
Okay,
62.
Perfect. I just saw something I want to show you guys. What's up, buddy? How are you, Easy? And I also like when we hit stuff, we're going to be able to change it really easily, and it's not going to bend the shock tower. These actually be good to save and give to someone. So there's everything that we saved, all the weight saved that they measure. But there's something in here I just saw that I walked by. I want to show you. So this is the wheel that Ben smashed in Long Beach. But look. Right? It didn't even break. That's what's so impressive.
I've never seen a wheel do that.
Yeah, not broke. So you could say that we take our wheel engineering very seriously.
Bro, it's a triangle.
It's a triangle, bro. Everything that folds is good because that's absorbing energy. And frankly, probably why the chassis is not destroyed. Not just the wheel, but multiple things. But it'd be like that sometimes. So coming for Orlando, you're gonna have Ben and James out there. The team out there in full force. James obviously leading the championship, so definitely very focused on getting him every lap he can get, getting him ready. He is just on another planet right now, so I'm trying to keep him there. And Ben is going in with a very renewed confidence. Like I said, we had a massive test day with him where he just got to run laps and just feel the car, and we ran him through a lot of the setup. I think some of the challenges, we've been putting him in too tight of a car. Like, we know it needs to win, so we've been putting him in that, and we need to dial it back a little bit to get him to connect the line and then add a bit more speed. So we got a little refined strategy for Ben. James and Ben will kind of be on a different program in Orlando. Also have Chelsea coming out to Orlando, which I'm really excited about. He's gonna work with Ben on Friday. Again, trying to give him all of the assistance that we can. Chelsea is extremely good at watching the car and watching what a driver is doing. I don't want to change Ben's style. I love his style, but just want to get him a little bit more connected with the car. And Chelsea has experience of driving so many different cars that he'll be able to relay some things a little bit better than I can, where I've just been so focused on Mustangs for almost 20 years. Good tool that we have. You know, Chelsea is very happy to help us, and we've got a great relationship, and so he'll be stoked and be a very valuable asset to Ben and the team for that Friday. And I'm just excited to see where it goes. You know, we've got 2 cars capable of winning. We've got a team capable of doing whatever needs to happen, whatever gets thrown their way. So we just need to keep putting it together for both cars each round and let the results come to us. James is only leading by a couple points. I don't know, but my belief is it's just a few points. You don't really start counting until Irwindale or just before Irwindale. So we're just gonna go out, throw down. If James has the practice laps he can, and the car that we know we can give him, he can win every round. So that's the goal. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed the update, the walk through the trailer, and I hope you all are as excited about Orlando as we are. As always, seriously, thank you all for the love, the support, and the continuous cheering of the entire RTR team. Much love. We'll see you guys soon. Whoa!